Hey everybody, Max here. Happy New Year 2025. I am continuing my holidays 2024 action figure toy haul review series, and today I'm going to be looking at the Spider Armor Mark 1 from the Spider-Man Retro card series. This one came out a few years ago, but you can still get it on Big Bad Toy Store and probably other places. I got it from BBTS. I picked up two, one for myself and one for my nephew for Christmas. He's a big Spider-Man fan, and he's gotten into the Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures, and he didn't have this one. He was nice enough to get me, he found Scarlet Spider for me back in a random Walmart in his college town where he attends college. I didn't think you could find it anywhere. It was sold out everywhere. And he called me and said, "Hey, do you want this?" And I said, "Dude, absolutely." And so he got it for me. I forwarded him the money, and I now have a Scarlet Spider. So I've been getting him some, some extra Spider figures to fill in the ranks of his Spider-Verse collection. So yeah. So we're gonna dive into this figure. He's pretty cool. I gave my nephew the one with the better paint, so mine is got some paint issues, and we'll go into that. But on a whole, it's a really solid figure. So this is the package. Spider Armor Mark 1's got the Spider-Man animated series logo, and here's some figures from that particular wave. These are a few years old. I wouldn't mind getting the Shocker figure. I think all of them have pins, although this guy's pinless. So anyway, that's what comes in the wave. Now that I've shown you the package, I can throw it away because I typically don't save these. Diving into the figure himself. Well, actually, let me dive into the actual accessories first. I always like to do the accessories first. So he comes with these web splats, if that's what you call it, and I don't have these. So I have several Spider-Man figures, and they sometimes come with plastic webs or something that he can hang on to or that sort of thing. But this is interesting. So don't know how I would display them. I mean, I'm not much into photography, but I can see if you are into that, these would come in handy for webbing up bad guys. He comes with two thwipping hands and two fists, and so I have the left thwip and the right fist, and he is displayed with the opposites. This webbing is made out of wire, just kind of like garden wire or some kind of like potted plant display. You can get this at like Hobby Lobby or in like the garden section. So my nephew actually kind of showed me a video of how to make this, and so all of my Spider-Man figures, I have different web lines for them. So you can get this wire and wrap it up and make it look like kind of however you want, like McFarlane style web line. So pretty cool. But let me go ahead and take this off, and just to kind of show you how to do it. You want to kind of wrap it around. These are, you have two pieces, and you kind of twist them around, and you get other pieces and make it as detailed as you want, but make sure it wraps around the peg, and then it just installs like that, and it's pretty cool. So yeah. Okay, let's get this guy into a neutral pose and talk about his articulation. On the whole, I really like this figure. I think he looks really, really good. And I've heard other reviews complain or point out that he is a smaller scale. Like for an armored figure, you would think he would be bulkier, but instead he looks kind of lithe like Spider-Man normally does. So this is kind of like almost like a skin-tight, thin layer of armor instead of the big bulky armor that he had in the comic. So, and I think this is really more representative of the armor in one of the Spider-Man video games. I'm not sure which one, but I do prefer this look to what appeared in the comic, largely because it allows for greater range of motion. And so, but let's get into the articulation. So the head is really has pretty good detail, and it doesn't have any painted webs, but I'm fine with that. I don't think it really had that in the comic or maybe the video game. It's just kind of supposed to be like solid plate metal, I guess. And the strength that Spider-Man has, the added weight doesn't slow him down. And it's the eyes aren't white. They're kind of almost kind of a yellowish, opaque, blackish yellow kind of look. It's interesting. Kind of gives him more of an insect look kind of I know it might not be showing up very well under my camera lights, but at any rate, it kind of gives him a bit of an alien look, and so I think that's kind of cool. And so there's a lot of texture all over the place. So they could have just made it smooth black plastic, but they added a lot of texture. So it kind of feels like an MCU figure as opposed to a Marvel Legends figure, even though it's a part of the Spider-Man retro carded series. So range of motion is, he looks up that far, so it's a little limited, and down that far. Doesn't come with any extra heads, and it's just a dumbbell. And I'm not a big fan. I'm becoming an anti-fan, beginning to not like the ball joint for necks, because you just end up having to bevel out more material to get better range of motion. I think a free floating neck and a disc hinge is probably the better option, as opposed to this fixed neck and dumbbell. So, but it's probably a cost-effective thing. I don't know. If you like it, great. Let me know in the comments. Are you for it or against it? T-pose is really good. In the comic, I think he had these shoulder pads right up here, and I'm glad they didn't go with that, because that would have definitely limited range of motion. And it's a very solid, there's a ratcheting feel to it, but it's smooth. There's not a lot of resistance. So that's good. And of course he goes all the way around. No butterfly joint, as you can tell. And pretty good bicep, feels solid. Double jointed pinless elbows. And he can flex like that. And of course the rotates at the wrist, hinged at the wrist. Good the whipping hand. He can flip his own head. And he has keep calling it a ratchet for some reason. He has an ab crunch, traditional ab crunch, and he goes forward that far, and then back that far. And they painted, so it covers, so this is how he looks in the neutral position. He goes back, and it's pretty much, it's got some extra armor right there that it covers, and then some texture right here. So that's kind of cool. There's some attention to detail here in terms of the sculpt, and I got to say I appreciate that, especially the armored pieces. And even though they didn't do any kind of wash, like, they didn't paint in the web lines or anything like that, it's not really bothering me. I might go back with a Gundam marker and add it maybe later, just for giggles and grins. Pretty good paint on the back. Pretty good texture. I mean, there's, like I said, you're probably seeing some overspray, and it's got its paint issues, and but I want to kind of get through the articulation before I go into that. It has the waist swivel, so pretty good back and forth there. The head, I don't think it's got some tilt, and but so there's some of that. And pretty good splits. I would prefer better splits for Spider-Man. He looks like he even has more space to get the legs higher, and there are no drop down hips. So that is a shame. That's a shame that he can't get good splits, but he can kick up about 90 degrees. So, but I guess you could say, well, he's an armored figure, and he's going to lose some agility as a result of the extra weight, or something like that, or the bulk or whatever. But it is what it is. And again, like I said, the pretty good texture, lots of different textures, kind of a honeycomb pattern here, and then stripes here. And so yeah, they kind of went in a lot of different ways, a lot of different directions with this guy to kind of make it look kind of segmented, almost like maybe he puts it on in different pieces and they just kind of fit together. This is an armor not built by Tony Stark, so it doesn't have any technology in it. It's just plate armor, that's it. He just needed something to protect himself, because I think he was going up against the Sinister Six or some other group of villains, and he just needed some extra protection. So Kicks back that far, really good actually. And the knees are a little loose on the left side, not so much on the right, but again, you can kind of see some silver paint here and there. Yeah, so they kind of didn't do a great job on this one, but like I said, I gave the better one. The one that I gave to my nephew had much better paint. So I know that there are good painted figures out there. I mean, even the spider logo is has a little, it's you can see black in there, and it's good for what it is. I actually like the design of it, but and you can see some texture in there as well. But there's just some overspray with the silver, and there almost seems like residue or something. I'm kind of afraid of washing it to kind of wash it off. I'm afraid the paint might come with it, but I don't know. Maybe that'd be a good thing. It'll come off, and I can just repaint it myself. I've got some silver paint, but it does not have a boot swivel, and that's a shame. That's why it kind of feels like a MCU figure, because it seems like they always skimp on the boot swivel when it comes to MCU figures, and the plastic feels like what the kind of plastic they use for an MCU figure. So anyway, and then the standard, he can go forward about that far and back that far. So they designed the ankle, they designed the shin with the ankle in mind, so that you didn't sacrifice any too much range of motion. So thanks for thinking that far ahead, guys. That's great. But he is a little on the thin side, but not too bad. I mean, he's not like, it's almost like the Amazing Fantasy figure, about that size. But for what you get, for the way he looks and the way it's sculpted, I'm okay with the scale. He's not a big man. That's the thing. He's one of the strongest of the Marvel Universe, but he's not a big man. So to the paint, you can see there's some splotchy paint there. There's a lot extra paint right here on this gauntlet. That is filled in, where on this side it is not. So on the left side, all that black is now painted silver. So I am kind of like I like things to be even. And so I may take a silver marker and fill that in myself, and maybe try and touch up or clean up some of these places, and just to tighten it up a little bit. And then maybe I'll go through and take a gun to marker and fill in the black lines just to give it a little extra texture. But I guess one way of looking at it in terms of the paint is that in the storyline, he was in a bit of a hurry to build this thing. So you could just say that the reason it looks kind of chunky and the paint's not that great is because he was in a hurry, and he just had to get it together so he could go out and fight those villains. So anyway, it's wonderful, imagination and the stories that you can come up with in comics. So anyway, the stories and justifications and things. So yeah, this is a solid figure, other than having a little looseness in this leg and the paint. I'm going to give this guy a warp factor of 8. Am I being too generous? Do you think that's fair? Do you have him? Did you have any paint issues with him? Let me know in the comments section. And I will try and put a link to the video where I learned how to do this particular. I'll put that in the description. So if you want to be able to make your own webs, I'll find that video and leave you a link. So I'll put that in the description. So be on the lookout for that. Alrighty, guys, great talking to you. Warp factor of 8 for this guy. Happy New Year again. Take care, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.